Hey there. Welcome back to another episode of Get to Know Us. And today's is with Michael Ryder. Today we released their album Cycle, and it's on their Bandcamp and our Bandcamp, and we are really excited about it today. I hope that you will check it out. And we have some tapes up for sale too. And we're going to also have a listening party tonight at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our Discord. And you can join that. You can find the link to join our Discord in our link tree that's in our bio. We just recommend that folks, if you're not already part of our Discord, to join prior to the listening party at 7 tonight, Eastern Standard Time, because we do have some rules to keep the place safe, and you've got to read those and do a little short intro before you're let into the part of the server where we actually have the listening party, which is in the cassette deck. Okay, we're going to bring Michael on right now. Hey.
Hello. I'm an eager beaver, I think. I don't know if you were like, oh, I'm looking for Michael Ryder now, or if I just appeared.
Oh, you put in your request, which made it really easy. I could just hit accept, and you came popped right in.
Perfect. Yep. So I follow the rules, Sometimes it works out.
Yeah. How are you doing today? How are you feeling about the release?
I am on such a high. Yeah, I feel amazing. I also feel a little bit tired, but I think it's all just like wrapped in together because obviously, putting out records is lots of work, but it also is super fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, I really appreciate all the self-promotion that you have done, which helps me a lot. 'Cause
Yes, yeah.
yeah, and I mean, you're really good at it. I'm like, geez, if we ever have money to pay somebody, and that's something you wanted to help us with, I
Oh
think.
my gosh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, big dreams down the line where we can actually hire people to do things so that are better at it than I am.
Yeah. Well, I think things like iMovie and Photoshop, it just makes the like marketing almost like a narrative in itself. And I think it's so good when artists are able to like be able to market themselves and know the tools how to do it. And I think
Yeah.
it gets a bad rep, but it can be a lot of fun, I think, if you know how to do that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not easy, and a lot of people
Yeah.
struggle with it, and a lot of people don't have the skills, and they also, it's not an easy thing to do to promote yourself. So,
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, well, let's get into it. Yeah, I always ask people how they first got into music as a listener. I always love hearing about like, first album or song or artist that you were really into, and they you knew music was a love of your life, one of the loves of your life.
Yes. Oh my gosh, totally the love of my life. Absolutely. A very crazy affair as well, too. But I guess the best loves are sometimes that. But yeah, actually I don't know if any of these records I was thinking about it. And I'm not sure if I had bought these records. I think all of these records just kind of came into my life, just kind of, I don't know, just almost magically. But I remember the first two records where I was really young. Somehow I remember my brother was an avid music listener and he had lots of CDs, and somehow I'm pretty sure I got Gwen Stefani's Love Angel Music Baby from him, just like a burnt CD with the track listing on the CD. And I'm pretty sure it was from him because he was a fan of No Doubt. And yeah, I just remember absolutely loving that record so much. And and then around that time as well, I think I was in like, I remember being in Walmart or something with my mom and seeing Avril Lavigne's Under My Skin. And that was like, I wanted that one. And I think my mom got it for me just then. And yeah, and I feel like those two records really covered the scope. It's like almost what I'm doing to this day of kind of the marriage between like, I guess we could say like singer-songwriter, instrument-based Avril Lavigne, and then, the pop production manifestation of Avril of Gwen Stefani. So I feel like that's the music that I'm making to this day. And then also there is one other record that this was probably the record that I don't think I had any kind of influence. I remember I was watching the N, and I was watching Degrassi, and good old Degrassi with my coming of age dramas, and it also kind of acted as like an MTV because they would play lots of music videos. And I remember Gems Finally Woken, her song for They came on, and I was obsessed. And that was the first time that I had kind of also seen an artist that was independent, that kind of was making their own vision, making their own lane, I guess more of that gray area. And that was kind of like the beginning of my understanding of what, independent music was. So yeah, I think it's that those three records were really seminal for me.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So, when did you yourself know you wanted to make music, and like what was the evolution of you realizing that, and how you got into actually writing, and maybe how you got into recording? Because sometimes writing, you might write before you even think about trying to record it.
Hmm.
Yeah. How was that? And what was that
Yes.
like?
Well, you've heard this story before, and but there, yeah, it's kind of a coming of age story. But basically, I think like every kind of like privileged, 8 or 9 year old at the time, my mom signed me up for all the extracurricular activities. I did baseball and football and soccer and all the sports, after school sports, and I just never really liked any of them. And I remember my mom and I saw a poster for CYT Christian Theater, and it was a show for Little Orphan Annie. And me and my mom went. My mom took me, and I remember absolutely being like my life had changed, and knowing that that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to sing. And yeah, so you had to audition, and I auditioned, and I sang God Bless America. And yes, and I remember people crying, and that was the first time that I kind of realized that I might had an inclination or to sing or to do music. And also on top of that, the power of music and how powerful yeah, music is. And
Yeah.
so I got in, and I did about 10 years of that. And I always felt a bit disenfranchised because I was always playing a role in musical theater, and typically these roles were heteronormative roles. I was, and I just never fit in. And, later I would find out that it was also gay, and that, let alone non-binary. And I just realized that I didn't fit into this place anymore, CYT Christian Youth Theater. And but it was still, it was wonderful because I loved singing, and I understood what quite, early on, how much my love of music was. And so parallel to this time, about middle school or so, I met this group of girls that were colloquially called the artsy girls, and they did art club, and they were in art class, and they were very well read and political and articulate, and just very different from the people that were at CYT Christian Youth Theater. And yeah, and I learned through making art, through doing art class, the idea of being an artist and expressing yourself, and all of the things, that happens when you do that. And yeah, and I think I just kind of organically combine the two things of being an artist as well as music, and finding out that I could write my own music and make my own music kind of in a way that was expressing myself. So yeah, so that was kind of the origin story.
Yeah, and so yeah, because you're a painter also. So did your love of painting kind of happen before music or around the same time? I'm curious how that interlinked from when you were young.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had no real aspirations to paint or to draw. I was just I just wanted to hang out with these girls from middle school, and that was what they did. They
Yeah.
painted and they drew, and they were really good at it. And I was like, I was interested, but yeah, it was nothing that was like, um, yeah, nothing that I did as a kid, which is kind of
Oh,
strange.
I see. So music was more, so music kind of came first. You were probably
Yeah.
more, and so I know we didn't talk about it before, but I now now that we are, I'm kind of interested. So like, when did you get into art and painting, and just, in relation, and I know that you do feel like there is a strong relationship between the
Mhm.
two now for you. So yeah, I don't know anything you wanted to say about that. I'm actually curious now.
Yeah, music was my first love, and yeah, art was something that was like a complete accidental thing. Yeah, but it was in middle school that I kind of took an interest to it, and almost kind of came at it as a fan in a weird way. I remember I was very lucky to then have a high school art teacher who was a huge inspiration on me, and I basically copied her and everything. I think her love of painting was so inspiring, and I think I just took that to music, and it just enriched my love of music in a different perspective.
Yeah, and I should mention now, it's still a ways off, but Michael is going to be doing a workshop in, I think September 13th is what we picked, although we don't have
Yeah,
anything official out yet. But
yes.
it's a workshop about art and a little bit about how it relates to music. It's kind of like an Art 101,
Yes.
kind of a workshop to try to get people inspired, maybe who've never done it before too, yeah. So anyway, that more on that coming later.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about the fact that we're finally getting workshops going, and I'm meeting with folks about it. And if you're an artist or musician, and or even just have some other kind of life skill that you think our community would benefit from, please reach out.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, so I want to talk about cycle, and also anything you want to share with us about, the collaborations on the album, about the songs, inspiration from it, that why you made it, or just whatever you feel comfortable sharing with us about it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'd love to. Cycle is such a breath of fresh air. So basically, to preface Cycle, I made an album called Temptation, and that album I wanted to make the perfect pop album and work with a bunch of producers and have the best people that I could find do the best things. And it's interesting because it also came out, or I wrote it and produced it, you know a pre-pandemic world, and I think that was
Mm.
where the world was at too, this idea of faster and better and capitalistic and all of these things that would I think kind of create a pandemic later on, but that was where I was at, and that record left me very drained, in so many ways, just
Mm.
emotionally and financially, and yeah, it was just it was a record that I'm still so proud of, and I love those songs so much. But it was such a challenge as an artist, and I realized very quickly how I wanted to make music. I knew that something needed to change, and
Mm.
this record was such a breath of fresh air. Basically, I don't think that my press release really says how, kind of talks about it as well as maybe it could, but this record celebrates 10 years of making music. It's my debut album came out 10 years ago last year in 2021. It came out in 2011. And yeah, so this record marks a new kind of chapter in making music. And why it was so great was I made this record with friends, just people that I knew, people that were that had faith in me as an artist, and I'd never had that before. I think I had always kind of chased and begged people to work with me, and
Mm.
makes such a difference when
Yeah.
I think it just, yeah, it just was so to have kind of, a machine that you've built, also a huge kind of like influence. I mean, in a great way was Ariana Grande and her releases of she released Sweetener and then Thank You Next, and to also kind of realize that music was in a very different place than maybe it was 10 years ago, and that you could release music any way that you wanted and you don't need to have a certain kind of plan. I think that artists had more power and autonomy than ever, and I think that was also very influential, to just work with the people that are around me instead of having to reach. So yeah, so this record happened so organically and just yeah, it was almost like it was like given to me, which is really, really crazy. Every facet. I mean, the producers, who is one of my dearest friends, and and um and Richard, who has been playing bass with me for about 5 years now, and and Nathan Feller, who has been my engineer, who took the last record that my producer had left me, and he took the record, and so he had faith in me. And then, just to meeting, you got to meeting you, Grim, through the Wavies Awards, that was from M as well. So everything,
Yes, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
was,
shout out to M the Myth.
yes, exactly, yes. So yeah, so it was really amazing making this album.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And you write at home, but you
Mhm.
don't, and you on your piano, but
Mhm.
you don't actually record at home. I'm curious if you wanted to show us your piano or anything you want
Yes,
to tell us
yes.
about your writing process.
Well, this is my, well, first, I guess this is my little apartment in New York. And
Yeah.
which basically everything kind of helps me write. And so I thought I would just give a little shout out. Yeah, this is my piano here. And it's really funny, like New York, every part of where you live is utilized. So I have this like bed thing that's on top. It's my
Yes.
candelabra moment. And then I have all of these like loungewear because I work at home, and like I'm always lounging. And actually, it's really funny. I have this robe which is on the album cover of Cycle. So I have it here,
Oh,
and
I do recognize it now that you're pointing that out.
yeah, so it's my fancy outfit, but it also works as my like house robe. So yeah, but
So does
that's
it like so
like
you have these robes you say you wear so do you like get fall into a kind of a role or I'm just curious like if you put on a robe and you're like okay now I'm going to do music like
I
it
No, yeah, it's funny. I really don't. I don't.
okay
It's just a way to make me look fancy, I guess, after I write. Yeah.
it's important to feel fancy
It is.
sometimes
Oh my gosh. Yes. And the thing is, you don't need a lot to be fancy either. It's a
yeah
mindset. So, yeah.
yes definitely well thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that with us
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any more that you want to say about Cycle, but I'm also be curious to hear about any new projects you have going on. And I know you're touring, and I'm gonna see you soon.
Yes. I'm so excited. And Spartan Jetplex is playing as well. So I'm very excited.
Yes, and Eli, Elizabeth
I,
Owens, and Infinite Bliss. It's gonna be a fun time.
hell yeah. Oh, yeah, but future projects, I am very excited. um, yeah, I have a body of work that is is ready to go. And yeah, I'm just trying to also, I think it's so funny because a lot of artists, I mean, me included, you always release a record and you're on to the next one. But
Right. It's not
I
even out yet, and you're.
I know, but no, it's a good thing. Apparently, Zane Lowe says it's because you
Sure.
released something and you have now new space to, which is
Yeah.
something I like. So, but yeah, I have more in the works. I'm very much I have a lot of dreams. Um yeah, and hopefully I won't spoil them. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you don't have to say too much about that stuff. Yeah, just whatever you felt like. Oh, and also shout out to Secret Wine Press for premiering your
Yeah.
album today and for the interview with you. I got a kick out of the I forget what one of the questions was about the oh, I like the question about the about what color would your album be. That was really cool. And then I don't know, the advice one was pretty funny to me about the
Pickle
pickle juice.
juice. Oh yes, yeah. Nicki Minaj says if you're drinking the pickle juice, then you got to accept the pickle juice. That's what you're gonna get.
That's
So.
really funny. I actually know someone who does drink, who actually has,
Oh no.
because they love pickles.
Oh well, it's probably really good for you too.
I don't know. It might be really salty. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just funny. But anyway, um, yeah. And did you want to shout out where you're touring and like how what days you're playing and where you're playing? Do you want
Oh
to
hell yeah.
let us know about that?
Yeah, I am playing. I'm playing here in New York. I'm playing at the Heaven Can Wait venue, which was I think it was called Lola, or it was also called Berlin East. As we know, New York always is changing, but now it's Heaven Can Wait. So
Yeah, okay, cool. That's a cool name.
yeah, it is a very it's a great space too. And so I'm excited to be there. I'm going to be playing with Willbug and Apollo Flower Child and Tosca. And yeah, and then I'm going to Virginia. I'm going to Richmond. And
Yep,
yeah, we're
May 20th.
on May 20th, and we're
Yeah.
playing at the Garden Grove, which I've never done.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and then I come back and I'm doing two shows on the 28th. I'm playing at the Stonewall Inn, which is insane. That I'm going to be playing there. Thank God for my friendager Amanda Wu for organizing that show. And then I'm playing for my friend Kitten's mixtape release.
Oh, Kitten, yes.
Yes,
Shout
exactly
out to
who I
Kitten.
presented with. Yeah. So Kitten, we're playing at the Windjammer in Ridgewood. So yeah, very excited.
Oh, very cool. Is that like a, I've been seeing posts about it and um it's a like a there it's a pretty big lineup, no? Or is that
There
something
is a
different?
there is a huge lineup. I think there's like 8 acts that are playing, which is very yeah. It's going to be like festival style. So I'm very
That's
excited.
exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so is there, I guess I wanted to see if you wanted to talk about any musical influences or other influences that you might want to talk about that aren't necessarily music, either for cycle or for your music or in art in general. Um, yeah, and anything maybe that you're listening to right now too that you wanted to shout out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing I forgot to, well, these artists are, well, some of them are a little bit more obscure, but I forgot to completely tell you my ultimate 5 favorites, which I feel like
Yes,
they're incredibly seminal, but
yes, yeah.
hell yeah. But so it's Imogen Heap, which I've been listening to for, she is incredible. Also, she was in Frou Frou. So Imogen Heap, Charlotte Martin, who is more of an underground singer-songwriter from the Hotel Cafe scene out in LA or in California. But Charlotte Martin, who she also was my voice teacher for a while. And so her and St. Vincent, Annie Clark. Um, and Tegan and Sarah, who is the only kind of like band, but also kind of two songwriters that are sisters, and then Tori Amos, of course. And I said her last because I just saw her and she was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
How
was.
how was that? Was that
She,
amazing?
she I think the thing why she continues to be such a legend is how how much of a student of music she is. I mean, she plays new material every night and she plays new covers every night. And not to say that, that's how you have to do it, but I think her studiousness of being a um, just a fan of music and a lover of music is so important. And I think that's what it's about at the end of the day, celebrating this lineage of music makers. But it was an incredible show, and it was just also a beautiful show too. And yeah, and she's just, I don't know what other word to say, but just excellent. So yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting that she always does different covers. So what covers
Mhm.
did you, what does she do that you,
Yeah,
is there
well,
anything?
yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I one thing she did, she played a song from her record that she just released, which is called Ocean to Ocean. And she had never played it. It was the first time that she played it on the tour. And it was about her mother who had just passed away. So um yeah, but I'm pretty sure she did interweave some kind of, I think she woven a cover um in, I
Yeah, I
think.
didn't mean to put you on the spot. It's all good.
Oh no, no, it's okay. I'm trying now. I'm not going to be able to tell you the cover, but I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah.
it was a medley in one of her songs. I'm pretty sure it
Oh,
was
I see.
Cornflake Girl or something. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but she's amazing. So
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, so I guess let's talk a little bit about like mutual aid and with Grimalkin always ask our artists to choose like a mutual aid organization that they have some sort of affinity to and that and oftentimes it's folks that are like local to them and you so graciously chose Grimalkin, which of course we never expect or ask, but we're in such a place where I don't turn that down. But
yeah.
anyway, I wanted to hear from you a little bit about yeah, why did you choose Grimalkin? And I know that there's some other mutual aid that you're interested in too, and if you could tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, well, I guess I have to preface this saying that, I've never known of, I mean, an institution like Grimalkin where music, why, and also why people make music in the first place is so much of social injustices in the world, so many things that need attention. And that's, I know that why I made music in the first place. And so I think that I had never, I wasn't accustomed to, picking out a charity. And granted, I'm so glad that, the proceeds will go to Grimalkin because I think we need as much funding as we can. Um, but yeah, there's so many also organizations in the future that I would love to, yeah, I would love to just bring attention to and hopefully also support. And
Yeah.
yeah, so but yeah, but I'm doing which also, the work of Grimalkin has also inspired me in my own
Oh,
discography, which is,
oh,
yeah, no,
that's so great. I mean, that is one of our goals is hopefully to inspire people to get, I don't
yeah,
know, get more active and maybe do some
yeah,
more research,
yeah.
with what's happening locally. Yeah, that makes me feel good to hear that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm really excited that the first record that I put out, which is called Lighthouse, the proceeds of that are going to Charlottesville, Virginia, the Blue Ridge Abortion Fund, which we all, we don't need to um, talk about that terrible news, but how, abortion rights and things
Yeah.
being is, So the money is going for that, and I chose Charlottesville, Virginia, because it is the neighboring town from where I grew up in Virginia in Shore Pump. And
Okay.
yeah, so and as well, the merchandise is going to that organization as well. And another, I did a chair kind of like a fundraiser last at the in December of last year for Palante Harlem, which is an organization that is fighting, you know, houselessness or as well homelessness, both ways. And the reason why I did that was because I had a partner who was without a home, and so that organization is really important to me. So but yeah, but again, it's I think all of these things affect us. I think if we really and yeah, I think that's why it's so important, to acknowledge this kind of work about giving back and also reflecting on why we make music in the first place and how music is
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so let's go we'll get go down a little dark, get into some darkness a little bit, but just
Yes.
talking about part of, well, I guess on the light side of that, Grimalkin is working on trying to create, alternative systems of support and structures to help artists. We would all love to eventually be able to make a living wage. And there's so many things that are wrong with the music business industry world, whatever you want to call it, and also just even within our local scenes, even within DIY and things like that. But I always like to hear from folks what their thoughts about it are, either with what's happening for them locally in their scene, or if you want to talk about more broadly in general, things that you feel are problems, things that should be changed, any kinds of thoughts on that type of thing.
Yeah, well, I think the overarching theme with the music industry and um I think maybe in the state of the world too. But I get, well, obviously, we focus on the music industry, but you know, the wonderful Laura Nero says that um, art should business should chase art and it shouldn't be the other way around. And I feel like we live in a time where music caters to business, and it I agree with Laura Nero absolutely, who's a legend, and yeah, she's I think we have to take back, that there's an industry in the first place because of art, because of music, and we have to, instead of chasing a top 40 hit, and chasing streams, we have to you know, honor the vision and honor the audience, and to create the work that inspires us, because I believe that, there's a reason. If we have a passion to make music, then we have to follow that. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just a product of life, and yeah, so yeah, I think that the business should certainly follow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and instead there a lot of business and whatnot is trying to get people to create content and stuff
Yeah.
so that they can make more money, and
Yeah.
it's kind of gone haywire. And again, like, a lot of these companies wouldn't even exist if it weren't for the creative people, but yet we're at the bottom, in terms of like getting it the support or the financial support or the money and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I guess yeah, so I always like to sort of wrap things up going back to something positive again, and wondering if you have any kind of like words of wisdom or advice that you would give maybe somebody thinking about getting into music that maybe has never tried it, or art, since you are also an artist, um, or just even hopes for yourself or for the world, for the future, anything like that that you'd want to. share with us?
Yeah, well, I think it's a cliche, but cliches I think have the biggest truths that like we just, just don't stop. If you have a vision, if you have an ambition, you have to follow that because I really believe that we're given those things. Those things are gifts and we have to follow through with them. And it's not an easy road, but it is certainly a rewarding road because you're living your truth. And I think, to knock out ageism so much, also the more experience that you have, the better you are. So just keep doing that. And yeah. And just one last thing, if it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. So that's
Yeah, that's
why,
true.
yeah.
But
So
but also on that note, everyone should try it.
yes,
You know?
that is very true. That is very true.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I think if more people actually made the efforts, there'd be more of appreciation, and art and music would be seen of more value too. If,
Yeah.
yeah, because and it isn't always easy, but I feel like it's rewarding no matter
Yes.
whether you're trying to do it professionally or whether you're just doing it for your own personal growth, you know.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think, one thing to go back and also the first question about, or I think we were talking about, like marketing yourself. It's like, I think
Oh, right.
we live in a time where it's like there's no such thing as rules anymore. And that on top of the idea that there's so many tools and that I think we have to, as artists, find what influences us and inspires us and and to do that, to react on doing that. And if there's something that doesn't feel right, then you shouldn't do that. I think that following your strengths is
Yeah.
important. So yeah.
Yeah. Marketing is hard, and it's one of those things too that's like it's like it can be seen as this like really gross, disgusting thing too, like because you're like, because of capitalism and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
the way I try to view it, at least from when Grimalkin's doing it, it's like we're just trying to reach more people that share our values and are like-minded, and there really is no other way to do that but to like put out that message into the world and to use
Yeah.
social media and blogs and whatever else that we can do that in. um but also at the same time, some people it comes naturally to and they do it really well. I think you're really good at it.
Yeah.
But like not everyone is, and that's another. um I wouldn't say that Grimalkin does it terrifically, but I think we can improve. We can definitely improve. I mean, we do our best, and I do my best, with the skills and time that I have. But I mean, I think that um, part of what we're doing as far as supporting artists is being able to do that for them when they themselves either just can't deal with that or can't do it, because we do release several artists who really aren't on social media.
Yeah.
They're not really comfortable with self-promotion and stuff like that. And so I think it is important to like be able to help other people who are might not have those skills or the ability to do it. And I think part of like just being part of the community that we've created within Grimalkin, like a lot of us are really trying to share each other's work and uplift each other. And I think that that's really important. And I would like to see more communities of that happening,
Yeah.
it doesn't, you don't have to do it within Grimalkin. Of course, you can join us and welcome to join what we're doing, but just to inspire other people to try and uplift the folks that are like in your local community who might be making music and art.
Yeah.
And it's really important. But yeah.
Yeah, amen. I was laughing because I was immediately, whenever I think of people that don't use social media, granted, this person is very, is not like a local artist, but it's like Adele. That Adele never, you only hear Adele when Adele has something to say. So I think there's
Hmm.
always are valid ways of expressing yourself, and just to let the work be at the end of the day, that the work will speak for itself and find its own
That's
way.
true.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, well, I really appreciate you coming on, and
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Grim.
trusting in me and trusting in Grimalkin to help you
Yes.
release your album. I appreciate that. And for anyone who's watching, we are having a listening party tonight for Cycle. And it's on our Discord at 7 o'clock tonight, Eastern Standard Time. You'll have an opportunity to ask Michael questions in the chat and then afterwards too. And if you haven't joined our Discord, it's open to the public. You can find the link in our link tree, which is in our bio. We just recommend that you join before 7 Eastern Standard Time because you do kind of have to read a little bit of rules there and introduce yourself and be let into the part of the server where we have a listening party, which is in the cassette deck. But yeah, and catch Michael playing live in New York. I forget when's the first show?
The 15th, this Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. 15th at Heaven Can Wait.
Yep, at 6:30. Oh, good job, Grim.
I remember that. Okay, at 6:30.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Eastern Standard Time. Well, I guess if you're in New York, you're going to be in Eastern Standard Time.
Exactly. You know it, Grim.
I'm just so used to saying it because we have people else, in other time zones. Yeah, and you can, and I see, I see Eli in the chat.
Thank you, Eli, for being here.
Yeah, May 20th, next Friday in Richmond, Virginia at Garden Grove. You could catch Michael Ryder coming in the town, playing with me as Spartan Jetplex and Eli as Elizabeth Owens and Infinite Bliss. It's going to be a blast. It's a free show. And although we encourage donations, of course, but it's a free show. Yeah, okay, that's awesome. Well, then I will see you a little bit later in Discord, and and congratulations on the new album.
Thank you so much. And one thing, I would have no other label release this record but Grimalkin.
Oh,
yep.
That's very sweet. Well, I hope it's one of many. So.
Oh yeah. All right.
Okay, cool. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.